Are you going to the march?
Yes, actually I am attending the march today. I have some friends that are marching, and I have also canvassed it with my staff, and some of them will be joining me. I won't be attending the full march because unfortunately the sitting agenda just simply doesn't allow that, but I will be out there today.
Okay, so is that just you and Bridget Archer and your staff members as well, or is there going to be more than that as far as you can tell?
I haven't spoken to my colleagues about it. I don't think you should be judging colleagues on whether they're out there or not. As you know, a sitting day in the Parliament is a very busy day for everybody, and we have lots of different commitments, and some of them simply won't allow us to leave the building. But that said, I do know that there is a shared sentiment around the building that the march is for the right purposes. Everybody deserves a safe place to work. And while we may not necessarily agree with all of the items that are in the petition, we do agree with the sentiment behind that. And we want to show solidarity.
So if you can go, Minister, why can't the Prime Minister go out there for 10 minutes?
Well, that's up to the Prime Minister. I think that, to not attend a meeting with the Prime Minister is such an extraordinary lost opportunity, I think, for the organisers of this march. Parliament House is a place where, community leaders can meet with the Prime Minister, where state leaders, where global leaders meet with the Prime Minister, and the organisers have been invited in for a carved-out period of time with the Prime Minister. I think that they should grasp the nettle and take this opportunity.
But why not? They want it out in the open, so isn't that reasonable? Couldn't that be reasonable for the PM to go out there just for a couple of minutes to listen to what they've got to say, so we can all see what's being said and how that's being reacted to?
I'm certain there are very good reasons why the Prime Minister can't go out there. Some of them may well be logistical as well as practical. But I think that the most important thing is that the organisers take this opportunity that's been presented to them and use it to make their issues known and to feel that they've been heard. Their frustration is that women aren't heard. This is their opportunity. They've been invited in. There's open arms and open ears. We want to listen.
But at the very least, shouldn't the Minister for Women go out?
I'm not going to speak on behalf of Marise Payne. That she too has invited the organisers into the building, as you would with any community leaders, as you would with state leaders, with global leaders, to sit down and discuss their issues. This is an amazing opportunity. People can wait months, indeed years, for an opportunity to speak to the Minister for Women and the Prime Minister in an environment like this, with such sincere interest in the issues at hand. I wish that they would step up and take the opportunity.
You argue that you're already working on a 5th National Action Plan against domestic violence. There is a new review by Sex Discrimination Commissioner of Workplace Culture, plus you've got the changes to reporting assault in Parliament. Can you do more?
I think we can always do more, and I would expect that the report from Kate Jenkins, that independent review into Commonwealth workplaces, Commonwealth parliamentary workplaces, will come up with a series of recommendations that we can implement around changes in culture and changes in practice. On top of that, we have Stephanie Foster from the Office of Prime Minister and Cabinet, looking at the support services that are available in Parliament right now. But I think we have to acknowledge that this is an issue, safety at work and gender relations at work is an issue that isn't just about Parliament House, it's about all of our workplaces. And that's why that Respect at Work report that Sex Discrimination Commissioner Kate Jenkins presented last year is so important. We're already implementing one of the findings there, which is a Respect at Work Council, which can advise on practical solutions for the workplace, not just in Parliament House, outside of Parliament House, in private sector workplaces. Practical solutions to deal with issues of gender inequality, sexual harassment, bullying, and those types of issues in the workplace. So, of course, there's more that we can do, and more should be done. That's why it's so important, I think, for the organisers of this march to come in and say their piece to the Prime Minister, as they've been invited to do.
And what about an independent inquiry into the actions relating to Christian Porter?
Well, I think that one has been, we've discussed this one to death.
But Labor's going to be keeping the pressure on that this week.
Yes, they will, except for the fact that New South Wales Police have already shut the case and said that there are no questions to answer. Now, if there was a Coronal inquest in South Australia into the circumstances of the alleged victim's death, that we think that would be an appropriate response and something that the government would be happy to participate in. But underpinning all of this is the rule of law, which is in the foundation stones of the liberal democracy, of our liberal democracy. And it's a liberal democracy that allows protests like the one that's going on today to take place in a peaceful and safe way.
Can I just ask, just finally, on the WA election result on the weekend, these are state elections, of course, but, the Labor absolutely romped it in. This comes off the back of the Queensland election, which Labor romped in as well. Things aren't going terribly well at a state level in Victoria for the Liberal Party as well. What sort of concerns do you have leading up to the federal election, potentially this year, most likely next year?
I don't think there are any surprising results in either the Queensland state election or in the WA state election on the weekend. There has been, a move towards the benefit of incumbency throughout COVID-19, and I think that a lot of people are, quite grateful for their state's actions in keeping them safe throughout the pandemic. In the same way that they're grateful to the federal government for making sure that the economy has continued ticking over and that the vaccine rollout is taking place and that the health responses were made at an appropriate time. So I wouldn't read too much into it. I don't think the result is surprising. Okay.